Hey guys, I just got back from this year's Wanderfest by Wanderful. For those of you who don't know, I am a chapter organizer here in Rochester, New York for Wanderful. We have chapters that are worldwide, and this year we all got together in New Orleans, and it was such an incredible time. Let me show you just a sneak peek. You can check out this amazing community and be involved in events just like this one. Meet women from all over the world, so no matter where you go, you'll know someone. And you can join by clicking the link in the description below. So welcome everyone to today's webinar for Monetize Your Passion Society. So I'm Crystal, the creator of Monetize Your Passion Society and the repurposing and visibility strategist. So I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs expand their visibility through content repurposing strategies so they can really reach that wider audience, grow their impact, and fast track those big results. And I do this by handling social media, email marketing, web design, content creation, and so much more. So Monetize Your Passion Society is a community for women entrepreneurs who are ready to monetize their passions and build a network of referrals with women from all industries. Now, this group is in-person and virtual. So we have our in-person group in the greater Rochester, New York area. And then the virtual is for all of you who are located all over the world. And I'm sorry, it's really dark in my office. It was nice and sunny, and now we have a storm moving through. So anyways, yeah, if you are here today and you haven't joined the free community yet, please do so by visiting crystalstatsky.com/monetize your passion society. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker, Cassie Paton. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Paton, that's all right.
Paton. Okay. She's joining us to discuss homepage website copy that gets your ideal client's attention, establishes a connection, and compels them to take action. And Cassie is the owner and creator of Mettle Tonic. I love that name, by the way. A copywriting and consulting business specializing in websites, email marketing, and client experience for growing service-based businesses. So Cassie, I'm going to go ahead and just let you take the floor.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal, for the lovely introduction and for having me. And thank you, everyone, for showing up. I'm so excited to meet all of you and realize I've got, neighbors here that I'm going to meet up with later. So I'm so excited to have you. Please feel free. I've got slides here, but if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I know Crystal might jump in and ask questions as things come up. So I totally welcome that. I'm going to give you a presentation here on some of the nuts and bolts of website copy, and also the bigger picture, why it's important, the types of questions you want to be asking yourself to write really compelling copy that captures attention and compels people to action, because ultimately your website, that's what it's about, right? Is we want to reel in those perfect fit prospects. So just to jump in, this is for you if you are a service provider, coach, or creative, and maybe you've got DIY website copy, or you're doing something new and you don't have any copy yet. It could be that it just feels a little off-brand for you. It doesn't really match who you are and what you're about. Maybe in person, you're this bubbly, energetic kind of person, and your copy just feels like the complete opposite of that, right? That I have a lot of clients who experience that. Maybe your website isn't generating any leads for you, and it should, right? Like a lot of us, we've all seen those websites that are kind of like digital business cards. They're very static. It's just, here I am, here's what I do, here's how to contact me. And that does nothing to really set you apart. And it should. Really, you want it to generate sales for you in your sleep. And if you know you need to update your website copy, but you're not sure how, this is also for you. So just a brief introduction. Crystal already did a great one, but I am based in Baltimore, Maryland. I've been writing all of the things for over a dozen years, but today I focus on website, email, and launch copy for gutsy entrepreneurs. I love that my job is, like, I get to interview passionate business owners and step into their shoes, put on their voice, and help them grow their businesses with compelling copy. My brand's values are courage, connection, and joy. And you'll see why that's important, why I've included that, because it has so much to do with what goes on your website. And my go-to karaoke song is Wanna Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. If you have a go-to karaoke song, please put it in the chat because I want to know. And if you have, if you're on Instagram, I would love to follow you. Feel free to drop your handle as well. Let's stay in touch. So to be clear, now it's funny when I tell people I am a copywriter, they often think it's like intellectual property. I'm like, nope, different spelling, copywriting. So I think we all know that, but not everyone knows the difference between copywriting and content writing. There's something, those are terms that get conflated a lot. Content writing is, the purpose of that is to educate, it's to entertain. So things like your blog posts, your social media posts, ebooks, they're really intended to inform. Whereas copywriting ultimately is to persuade, market, and sell. And so it's a different approach. And I'm seeing the chat here, so I want to take a look at that. But I just want to make that distinction because they have different jobs, they have different purposes. And so I know a lot of people get tripped up when it comes to copywriting. And I want to see what Carolyn had to say. I haven't been to karaoke in years, but I sing show tunes to my kids as lullabies. On my own, don't cry. Oh, don't cry for me, Argentina. Yes. Or someone else's story. I love that. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Very cool. All right. So I'm on a mission to make stale, dusty, and crusty website copy a thing of the past because I see this a lot, right? Who can relate? You spend so much time on social media marketing yourself, or maybe you have an email list and you feel like you're constantly churning out this content, or you're trying to. It takes a lot of energy. And that's really good that you are doing those things if you're doing them. However imperfectly, we could always do better, myself included. The downside of that can be, I love to, when I come across a service provider who I really like there's something about them on social I really connect with, and I go to their website, and there's a complete disconnect between that person I saw on Instagram and what is being presented on their website. Because it tends to be the kind of thing that we neglect. We throw something up because we just need a website and then we never get back to it. And it's kind of always in the back of your mind. And so the result of that is, you're missing out on potential connections, sales, or leads at the very least, and client transformations. And that can really be a poor use of your marketing efforts, because when people go to your website, they are going because they're interested in working with you. They're going because they're looking for more information. And so we want to make sure that all of their questions are answered. Renee says, Michael Jackson, you got to be starting something. Yes. That's a good one. I love it. All right. So here's what strategic, compelling website copy can do for you. It should speak your dream client's language. We want to make your perfect fit prospect feel like you are talking directly to them. You're using the words they would use to describe whatever situation they're in that they are seeking a solution for. It helps you stand out, right? If it's language that's branded to your business, that articulates your unique value proposition, that's going to set you apart from 99% of the service providers out there who do exactly what you do. So branding is absolutely an element. It helps make a statement about what you believe and what you value. I mentioned my own brand values earlier. And, you know, if there's something that you care deeply about that drives you, a cause you care about and contribute to, anything like that, this is what I'm all about. Not everyone does this, but I think it's such a great way to make yourself stand out immediately. And then, of course, on a practical level, just overcoming objections that people are going to have. Like, you know, what are the things that keep people from working with you? Two biggest objections are often the time commitment, or they're just too busy. And of course, the monetary investment. Oh, it's a lot of money, or maybe not now, maybe when I get to a different level in my life or business, depending on who you serve. So we can overcome those objections with the right strategic words. Okay.
I love that. I've never thought about making a statement on my website about beliefs and values, but that is very important to have.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. I think, you know, not all businesses are like that, but you know, there's a ton of evidence and research that shows millennials and Gen Z people especially more than ever care about brands' values. They expect to see you take a stand on things, or simply share your values and of course act on them too. So I think it's increasingly important.
So when you mention beliefs and values, would you make them related to what you do, or would it just be anything in general? Like, for example, you know, I'm a digital marketer, but my values are be more eco-friendly. You know, that's just an example. Would I say that kind of stuff, or do I need to make it specific to what I do?
That is such a good question. I think there is always a connection. You can always find a connection between what your values are and what you do. It might not be the most obvious. It takes some exploration, but that's what I nerd out on, because I think there's always a way to make that connection. And sometimes it's really just about, you know, maybe you contribute to a cause in that realm, or maybe it's something you practice in your daily life. Which is something you could talk about on your about page, depending, you know, on the circumstances. Maybe you want to attract a certain client, right? I mean, that's what it's about, is you want to attract the kind of person who is on that same level with you, because it just means you're going to enjoy the work that much more. So I don't think there needs to be an obvious connection whatsoever, but it does help if you can make however unexpected of a connection as possible.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I could talk about that all day. So, so, you know, your website, it really is, it's part of the marketing plan too, even though it's not an ongoing, consistent marketing effort. It doesn't take as much upkeep as social and emails, but it does have a big job. It should generate sales and build your email list. So things like having sort of an opt-in, freebie, lead magnet, incentive, something that helps you market to your people directly, because your email list is totally your VIP list. Again, it's where people go to make decisions to make money. It's where they're trying to decide, do I need this now or at all? Do I want to work with this person? So often we get caught up in the features of what we offer, right? Say you offer a service or a package, and the temptation is to bullet point as many things as you can think of to make it seem really valuable. But ultimately, that's not what people care about. They care about, what are the immediate advantages of that? What are the long-term benefits of that? The big picture stuff. And that's really what you want your copy to speak to. And an important note too, that your website design works right alongside your copy. So very often I will say strong copy can make up for, you know, just kind of a lackluster design. I still have my first templated version of my website. I don't love it. And in fact, I'm working on a new one right now, but strong copy can make up for that. Whereas great design, it's important. And when you can invest in it, I think you should, but it can't make up for crappy copy. So any questions before
I do want to make a point to what you just said. So I've changed my website, I don't even know how many times, but at one point I had someone else design it for me just because, you know, we're busy. We just don't want to deal with something like that. So I had someone create my website. I created all of the copy and I just had her like work through the template and stuff. But she put so many photos of me on there that it really drew away from the copy. And I actually was hearing it from people on discovery calls. They're like, there's a lot of pictures of you on your website, and I didn't get the sale because of it.
Really?
I think they thought I was like too conceited or something. I don't know, but
Wow.
yes. So be careful how many, like what your design is. I mean, because sometimes it does pull away from copy, but yes, copy is the most important thing.
That's, I mean, I can't believe somebody told you that, but at the same time, at least you got that feedback. That is surprising.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I actually had 2 people. And I mean, I kept that website template for maybe like 6 or 8 months. And I had 2 people during that time frame say it. And when the second person said it, I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm designing my own website.
I guess so, right. Jeez, yeah. Another thing too, like with the design, and it's also copy related too, is like when you get to a website that has a ton of calls to action, buttons everywhere, like learn more, sign up, see my services, about me. Like when you give people 10 options, like I see a lot of like website templates, designers love putting buttons everywhere, not all of them, some of them. And it always cracks me up because I'm like, I'm deleting all of those. When we're writing the copy, we're having 2 on your homepage maximum. The homepage is the one exception where you might have more than 1. Every other page, 1 call to action. So that's a side tangent to write down potentially, save for later, because that's a total pet peeve of mine.
Yes, that's good to know, like a maximum of 2, because you know people always ask like how many is too many. So yeah, I do agree 2 is a good number.
Yeah, a recent client of mine had, or no, I did a copy hot seat, so a live audit, and I counted 14 calls to action on the homepage, buttons and hyperlinked text. And this is, you know, like it was an otherwise very nice looking site, but oh my God, we have to cut this down. So.
Yikes.
So your website copy has 3 primary jobs. The first one is to get attention. So without that, the rest doesn't really matter, right? You need to speak to a specific person, call them out or call them in and get their attention, because, you know, the limited attention span science, it's true. Who doesn't have like 10 tabs open at any given time, right? It's so easy to be to be reading somebody's website and like, click to the other tab. What was I doing? You cannot assume people are hanging off your every word, right? So you really need to, on that top section of your website, we'll talk about what's known as above the fold, but it's essentially the section of your website before you even scroll down. Everything that's visible on the screen is what's considered above the fold. So that top section needs to have everything you need to know. Like, first of all, who you are and what you do, or rather who you do it for. And it needs to have an attention-grabbing headline. And so a headline can speak to a couple of different possible things, either a specific pain or challenge that they're experiencing, or a desire. People get really uncomfortable talking about pain points, like, oh, I don't want to make people feel bad. It is not about making people feel bad. Language choice matters. You certainly can make them feel bad if you use accusatory type language, but what it's really doing, or what it should do, is to empathize with what they're going through, to show them that you understand and can help them. And the purpose of each line of copy as you make your way down the page It's to keep the reader reading. It is our goal to have them hanging off every word, because the right person will. Most people won't, but the right person will. The second job is to establish a connection with your perfect fit prospect. I keep repeating that because it's important that we are only talking to that person. It's, it depends. We all know when you're early on in your business, you want to cast as wide of a net as possible. You'll take any client with a pulse. But the longer you're in business, the more you know what, I don't want to work with these types of people. I want to work with this type of person. And so that is who you should be speaking to. Nobody else matters, because if you want to grow a business you love, that's how you do it. You market to that person. So by making a connection, you're really using that body copy underneath the headline to meet them where they are and show them you understand what they need. Use the language they would use. So if you have testimonials, if you've done any market research, if you read reviews of your competitors, or maybe you're in Facebook groups and you see people talking about some of these challenges, pay attention, because whatever they're saying is the language they use and is the language that's going to resonate with them if you use it on your website, as opposed to jargon or stuff that, like, things about what you do, but they don't necessarily know yet. We really want to make sure we speak the way they do. And humans want to work with humans, so you can totally have personality, share your values, anything unique or distinct about you, and ultimately you want to guide them to where they want to go. So your copy needs to kind of take them on a journey of transformation of, hey, here's where we can go together. The third main job of your copy is to compel them to take action, right? Because without action, nothing happens. There's no lead on your list. There's no sale that happens. So we want to show them the benefit of taking action now with your copy, or the downside of waiting. Right? We don't want to use false scarcity. We don't want to use pressure tactics where they're not needed or warranted. But we do want to illustrate, okay, for example, if you do this on your own, or if you wait, are you going to be happy 6 months from now after, doing that approach, essentially. Whatever it is that they are missing out on, you want to make sure they understand that, so they're fully informed to make a decision in either direction. Also explaining what happens next, with that final call to action, whatever you want to guide them toward. Maybe it's booking a call, scheduling a consultation, buy now if you're selling digital products, or an easy service that doesn't need a sales call. You want to set expectations, tell them exactly what happens next, and what they need to do to take action, and make it as easy as possible, as few steps as possible. If there is one extra step they don't really need, it's one extra step too many. So we're getting into like user experience here too, right? It's all connected. Copy and user experience go hand in hand.
Yes, I definitely agree with that, as far as make it as less steps as possible. I've had to talk to clients about, where the client goes after leaving their website, because I've had some people where it's like they visit the website, then they click on this button to book a call with them, but first they have to fill out all these forms and then wait for you to email them. And it's like, no. Just send them to a Calendly link where they can fill out a pre-call questionnaire and you're good. Right. The less stuff possible.
Right. Agreed. Yeah. Or you'll see, we'll actually talk about this, but like an unclear call to action where you think, it's a button taking you to more information about a service, like especially a higher ticket service where it's going to be an investment. They're going to want to read a little bit more about it. And it's taking them to a booking page like, whoa, I wasn't ready to commit yet.
Yeah, that's very true too.
Yeah, yeah. So these are, oh, and I saw Juan asked a question, a direct message. Do you only provide feedback on existing websites, or do you also design them? I do not design them. Although when I write website copy, it's wireframed, which it's just like basic layout guidance that you or a web designer could, take and kind of know how it should appear on the page. But as far as feedback on existing websites, I do occasionally do like a copy hot seat where you can submit your homepage copy and I'll review it live. So hopefully that answers your question. And if you're interested in finding out like the next time I do that, just let me know. So these are the top, you're welcome. These are the top website copy mistakes I see. This is a big one, number one, where the copy is all about you. And that's what makes sense to most of us, right? This is my business. This is what I do. Here are my qualifications, which is all great, but that is not centering your client. Again, this is, you want to make your website copy, your brand about your ideal client as much as possible, which means fewer I, me, my sentences, meaning sentences that start with those words, and more you, your sentences. You are experiencing this, you are feeling that. As opposed to something as simple as, I can help you. Cut out the I. You can. That change alone makes such a big difference in terms of making somebody feel like you're talking to just them. Too feature focused copy that's like, I actually already said that earlier, right? Where you're just bullet pointing, here's everything we've got, and sometimes we want to throw in extras because like, oh, well, so-and-so does this too, so I'm going to throw in Voxer support. More features isn't always better. The benefits, the results of each of those features is what matters. If you ever find yourself throwing in an extra because you feel like you need to, but you can't explain why it's important, then it might be fluff. So you making sure that your copy really speaks to the bigger benefits of each of those things. So Voxer support, so you can fill in the blank. That's the important piece of the copy, not the feature itself. 3 deadly sins, jargon or cliches, right? Cliches especially, we hear the language, we keep seeing it, and so we start to use it a lot. Vague promises, well, I'll have an example for you on an upcoming slide of what that could look like. We want to be as specific as possible without getting too wordy. It's a tricky balance, but specificity is always better. Or being clever at the cost of clarity. So I've seen people start to have a ton of fun with their call to actions. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, like, hell yeah. That can be fun. It might serve a purpose just fine, but it really depends on the context. If I don't know where the hell yeah button is taking me, I'm not clicking on it. So always question those choices. Yes, you want to have fun and add personality into your copy, but never sacrifice clarity for that. Message stuffing. This is actually one of my biggest downfalls. I am naturally a verbose speaker and writer, and I'll like have these long, complicated sentences. And when I go back and edit, you can be sure that I'm taking one long sentence and breaking it down into two paragraphs even, 1 line per sentence. If you're trying to address 2 different things in 1 sentence, it's too long. The power of 1 is your best friend in copywriting. Lackluster headlines and calls to action. So just again, if something is unclear or not particularly compelling, it's not going to encourage people to either read on or take action. And then a bonus mistake I see on websites is there's not any kind of strategic way of capturing leads. And I will tell you, sign up for my newsletter is no longer serving anybody unless you are, I don't know, whoever's, I can think of a few people off screen, but like, unless you are a big name and everyone's just got to know what you're thinking, nobody wants tips and tricks anymore. They want a specific item of value. Tell them what awesome things are in that newsletter. Yes, if it's specific, if you have specific things that you do in each newsletter or most of your newsletters, great. I am all about that. But it should be specific, not tips and tricks, not my valuable insights. I don't know what that means. I don't want it. My inbox is full enough as it is. Any questions about that or anything before I'll show you some examples. Okay. So
all of it sounds pretty good so far.
Thanks. So here's an example just to like take those 5 common mistakes and like see some examples in action. I would love to see if anyone has thoughts on what this one is missing. So I help my clients declutter their homes for a more organized, enjoyable life. So like a personal home organization consultant in this scenario. It's nothing bad about it. It's grammatically correct.
I would say put the enjoyable part in the beginning. It's like, I want to create an enjoyable life for you, and that means being more organized.
Okay, right. So yeah, giving the value up front. Anything else?
I was going to say, I might have to hear it again, but always adding a "so that" kind of statement in the middle. So, you know, you have the beginnings telling what you can help them with so that they can live in a more enjoyable life or something like that.
Totally. Yes. The benefits of that, right? Specific benefits. And Carolyn said it's an I statement. All right. Good, guys. So yes, here's an alternative. Now, this is not going to apply to all personal home organizational consultants, which is exactly the point. Here's one example. Cut the crap and clutter so you have more time to knit blankets for shelter dogs and finally master meditation. Out of context, maybe that sounds a little strange. Or if you are seeking a personal organization, I can't say this phrase, but a consultant, that might not speak to you. But this is going to speak to a specific person. And so what this does is, Carolyn, you're exactly right. It's a you statement. There is no mention of I whatsoever. It's highly specific. So a more organized, enjoyable life. What does that mean? So what? Show me what that means. Like if you don't tell me what that is, like, okay, more organized, enjoyable life, I can do that anytime. Or that's not highly important to me right now. This is highly important to somebody for a very specific audience. You could insert your own version of specifics. It does not have to be knitting blankets or mastering meditation, but for some people that speaks to their values, and it creates an image in your mind. So just think about, like, this person has personality. It's a little quirky, right? It's unique, and that's what we want. So other examples of, like, so this is like that vague promise I talked about. Other examples are, I see so many people promising confidence or more ease. I work with a lot of coaches or wellness people, like more confidence and more ease. So what? Always ask yourself, so what is a great question to ask yourself if you feel like the copy is just falling flat. Here's another example. I just gave it away. I forgot that was my next example. So when you work with me, you'll feel more confident at ease, right? So here's me asking, so what? At ease how? Like, give me specifics. Okay, so here's a second version of that. When you work with me, you'll feel more confident and at ease in front of the camera. Well, now we know what kind of service provider this is. This is a photographer. This is better, but let's take it a level deeper. Feel at ease in front of the camera so your brand photos capture your energy, help you stand out from the crowd, and attract more clients you love. Right? So this is, I know exactly what this person does. I know exactly how I'm going to feel. I know what kind of results I'm going to get. And I have big picture benefits. Like, whoa, brand photos are going to help me attract more clients I love. Yeah. But you got to spell it out and you have to be willing to get specific and turn some people off. A lot of photographers, they want to do all the things. I do wedding photography over here. I do brand photography over there. I do couples. I do babies. I do seniors. Some people do that and they do that well, but what makes it difficult with your copy is you can't speak to any one person. The more you can speak to that one person that you really want to work with and be willing to turn some people away, the more it's going to resonate with the person you want to work with. Okay.
Something that one of my business coaches a while ago had mentioned was you can still specialize in all those things. Like when I first started out, I was like, oh, I can do this, 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 and that. And then she's like, how about we just narrow it down to maybe 3 things? And that is just for website purposes. So you can really narrow down and get very specific in your niche. And then when you get on a call with those people, then you can tell them, oh, I also do this, or I can also help you with this. So really finding a couple things to specialize in is very helpful.
Exactly. It's always going to make the copy and marketing in general stronger, resonate more. Awesome. So I want to be wary of time. A few more things to take note of. What I want you to focus on is, you know, when you're prioritizing, like, what do I focus on with my copywriting? What's the most important? These are the 2 most important things. Every line of copy matters. Every word has a job, but it's the headlines and the calls to action that carry the most weight, because your headlines are what grab attention and your calls to action are what show people what to do next. The headline keeps people reading or inspires them to read on. And so you don't, again, the more specific, the more you're calling somebody out, the better. Because they are the first bookend of every page. 8 out of 10 people are going to read your headline. Only 2 out of 10 people are going to read the rest. Subheadlines serve a similar purpose, right? They're the headlines that appear throughout the page. They draw in the reader who might be skimming the page. They point to, hey, this is important. And just a note that your headline should never be the title of the page. I think I had some examples like, or welcome. Like, oh, this is prime real estate on your website. Don't welcome me to your site. I'm here, I know it. Tell me what I'm gonna get. Tell me what I need. Tell me what I'm experiencing. Calls to action, again, making sure you're telling the reader exactly how to take the next step. Every page needs one, really just one, really and truly decide where you want the reader to go next. They should be easy to see, not too clever, and an easy call to action sheet, if you're not sure what words should go on the button, is finish the sentence. I want to what? And that what is the button. You don't need the I want to, just I want to work with me, right? Work with you, or book a call, wherever you want them to go next, just finish that sentence. Okay, a couple more examples for you. Our bookkeeping services will save your business money guaranteed. And the button says, learn more. Any guesses as to what's missing or how this could be better?
They need to say how it's going to save their business money.
Right. Yeah, Carolyn says it's generic and boring. Agree. Learn more is my least favorite call to action. Tell me more is more compelling. Show me how, even more so. Learn more. People don't usually want to learn more. They want to be shown how. So instead, and the copy before it too is specific to your pre-button text is often also part of the call to action, right? So find out how your dedicated 24/7 bookkeeper will save your business thousands of dollars every year. Whoa, okay. So the find out how is part of the call to action because it's giving me an instruction. And the button makes it really clear, discover how to save. So it also includes the benefit in the call to action, right? How to save? Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to save? I do want to discover that. Okay, so finally, just to kind of wrap things up here, empathy is always going to be your best strategy when you're writing your copy. You know, we're not using those sleazy marketing tactics that bro marketers love. There are no one-size-fits-all templates, unfortunately, but a formula that you can use and experiment with as you are writing your own copy, if you decide to go the DIY route, is PASO, which is pain, agitate, solution, and outcome. So leading with the pain or the challenge. I mean, why are they on your website? It's because they're looking for a solution to a problem. So articulate that problem. With the agitate, you are exploring how that's impacting their lives. That's it. You're just showing you get it. Solution is introducing yourself as their guide, and then illustrating the outcome by showing them, here are the results you can have. Here's what the bigger implications of this work with me will have on your life or your business if you're B2B. This works for pretty much all of your website pages. But always remember, you don't want to make an assumption that they are going to fill in the blanks or know exactly what to do or why it's important. You need to tell them. Okay, so and ending on this note, you know, writing is never the first step. There is some soul searching and brand exploration you're going to want to do. So again, coming back to your values, your approach, your energy, digging into the things that make you weird, interesting, what people say they like about working with you. That is always going to be your starting point. The more intimately familiar you are with yourself and the value you bring to the table, the stronger your copy is going to be every time. And I think I had a lot more, I think I had a couple more slides now that I'm remembering. I apologize for the time. I can explain some of those questions, or I can send you follow-up slides if that's better for everyone's time, with just some branding questions that you might ask yourself. Would everyone like that if I sent some slides?
I think it would be great to send some slides. If they're quick, feel free to continue sharing them. I know we always try to stay under an hour, but yeah, you've been very, very informative.
Thanks. This is my condensed version of this presentation. So like I said, I can talk about this stuff, but yeah, I will send you these slides. They're really prompts to get you thinking, to start asking questions. Like, they're really great for journaling, or if you're not a journaler, like, just record yourself talking about it. I did this recently in the car as I'm working on my new website and rebrand, revisiting like all of my values and why I do what I do. It's a great starting point. It's the most fun starting point, at least for me. I nerd out on that stuff. So I will happily share that. And also some questions to consider about your dream client. You're going to get all of that in the group if you are in the Facebook group. And I did want to just offer you, if you would like something else that's tangible to evaluate your own homepage, I've got a freebie for you. So if you're interested, I can drop a link in the chat, but this is basically your free homepage self-assessment to make sure your copy is answering all of the main questions it needs to. So this is your homepage specific. 7 of these questions tend to get skipped pretty often. So it'll just be a nice little DIY guide for you to kind of audit and rethink some of your website copy. So thank you. And I want to open it up to questions. Crystal, thank you again. This has been a ton of fun and I hope really valuable as well.
Yes, thank you. So we'll just do a quick Q&A. Does anyone have any quick questions before we start to wrap things up?
While you're asking them, I will grab that link for you.
And then also, if you want to put your email in the chat or something, she can always email those slides directly to you. Otherwise, you know, Cassie, if you want, you can always find them on Facebook in the group and share the slides that too.
Sounds great.
All right, any last questions? Now's the time. All right. So Cassie, thank you so much. You were such a trooper through this and you shared so much value. My head is spinning. This has been really great, especially for me, because right now I'm kind of in this transition where I'm like, oh, I really want to update my website because it's been a year now. And I'm one of those people that, you know, once it gets to be a certain time, I just look at my website and I'm like, oh, it looks so out of date and boring. And I've been seeing it way too much that I want to change it. So this has definitely inspired me to make those changes sooner rather than later. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. So if you are watching the replay on YouTube, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. This replay will be on YouTube. I will also share it in the Facebook group, so make sure you join. You can find the link crystalstatsky.com/monetize your passion society. And our last and final free webinar of this quarter's series is going to be happening on March 31st at 9 a.m. Eastern. So Katerina is going to be joining us to discuss how you can market yourself on social media. And then Saturday morning, if you're located in Rochester, New York, we'll be meeting at Boulder Coffee Company Cafe at 10 a.m. And we're going to be doing an in-person quarterly goal planning session. So we do these in person. If you're ever in the area, we try to do them every quarter. And it's just really great for everyone to get together, plan out what your quarter is going to look like, and receive tips and guidance from all women of all industries. So definitely stay tuned. It looks like Rose had a question.
Yes. So what's the limit on call to action buttons? So I would say no more than 2 primary calls to action on your homepage. That's not to say you can't have the same one twice. Because especially if it's a longer homepage, you want to make it easy for somebody to, that you don't want them to have to scroll back to the top of the page to book a call with you. So you can have it at the very top for people who land there and just want to take that action immediately, and put the same one again at the bottom so they don't have to scroll up. You might also have a secondary call to action like view my services or sign up for my freebie. But yeah, generally that's the limit for home pages for me. And then for every other page, no more than 1.
Any other questions? All right, Renee, I see your message. I'm going to message you on Instagram or Facebook, either one, and we'll be in touch. And everyone, once again, thank you so much for joining us. It was so great to get to know all of you and to learn a lot. So let me or Cassie know if you have any questions, and be sure to follow us on Instagram. You can find Cassie at Mettle Tonic Co. and myself at Crystal Statskey. All right, take care, everybody. Thank you.